I could smell the onions and the mustard. That wasn't mustard gas. That was a Subway, what they call a sandwich. You have invariably heard about the DC sandwich guy, a gentleman named Sean Dunn, who was arrested, charged with a felony against a federal officer for throwing a sandwich at him. The grand jury decided, nope. This does not rise to the level of a felony. We will not indict. It forced Donald Trump and Jeanine Pirro to walk back their charge and charge him with a misdemeanor. They took it to trial. He did not plead guilty. They took it to trial where he was acquitted yesterday. Acquitted of a misdemeanor. No assault. The jury saw fit to say no. A grand jury, they said no. A regular jury, they said no. This should inform your behavior when you get called to serve on a jury and something like this comes up, whether that be grand jury or petite jury or, just standard criminal or misdemeanor jury. There's been a lot of talk about the crime in DC. I portend and have put forward. We've done videos. I've walked the streets. I live in the city. There's no out of control crime. But the White House would want you to feel differently about that. You might remember a few months back when they put out this video of this urban assault raid and arrest on a dangerous criminal in the streets from his home in DC. It's like 26 seconds or so. Watch this video from the White House.
Coming down.
That you just witnessed, the ominous dun dun, it's like the Sicario movie or something. I mean, they really paint a picture of them dealing with heavy crimes, like hardened criminals and terrorists. That guy in the video that you just watched was the aforementioned sandwich guy. That is the level of force they brought to bear against someone who chucked a sandwich. Maybe that's a crime. I have said that I believe that the only crime that I witnessed in the video that I'm going to play for you here, the only crime I witnessed is that people are referring to the thing he threw from Subway restaurant. Referring to that as a sandwich is really the only crime I see. Here's like 30 seconds from a local DC affiliate talking about this case.
A DC man caught on camera slapping a Customs and Border Protection agent right there with his Subway sandwich, then taking off. 37-year-old Sean Dunn tried to sprint away. He was ultimately arrested and is now charged with felony assault on a law enforcement officer.
Again, acquitted. Not charged with felony, acquitted. But Jeanine Pirro, you might remember this, came out and celebrated the White House urban assault raid on that guy's apartment complex, poking fun and making jokes while, I guess, looking into the future at a conviction that never came. Here is our absolutely feckless U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia, the city in which I live, Jeanine Pirro.
And the president's message to the criminals was, if you spit, we hit. Well, we didn't quite do that the other night when an individual went up to one of the federal law enforcement officers and started jumping up and down, screaming at him, berating him, yelling at him. And then he took a Subway sandwich about this big and took it and threw it at the officer. He thought it was funny. Well, he doesn't think it's funny today because we charged him with a felony, assault on a police officer. And we're going to back the police to the hilt. So there. Stick your Subway sandwich somewhere else.
He doesn't think it's funny today because he's been charged with a felony that never came. He doesn't think it's funny today because he's been charged with the misdemeanor that he was acquitted for. What's great about this is some of the testimony, the transcripts of the testimony were reported on, and it is remarkable how prosecutors came at this case Here's a headline from WUSA, the local affiliate here in Washington, D.C. The headline, I could smell the onions and mustard. Federal agent testifies in D.C. sandwich guy trial. Sean Dunn's defense attorney argued the sandwich toss was protected speech, an exclamation point on his First Amendment protest of federal agents' presence that night. He did it. He threw the sandwich, the defense attorney told the jury. You are going to be asked whether what occurred that night was a federal crime. Video played at trial showed Dunn verbally confronting the group of federal agents for several minutes. Larimer, that's the individual, the agent, the armed agent of the state, the secret police, the steely-eyed urban assault raid warrior. This is what he had to say at trial. Larimer described it as a profanity-laced tirade. He testified that Dunn threw the sandwich so hard it exploded against his bulletproof vest. Quote, I could smell the onions and the mustard, Larimer said. Oh, he seems like a shell-shocked soldier coming back from World War I after having been in the gas-drenched trenches. I could smell the onions and the mustard. That wasn't mustard gas, Mr. World War II trench dweller. That was a Subway, what they call a sandwich. And then again, some jurors were seen holding back laughter as the video was replayed in court, though prosecutors stressed the matter is serious. I'm not going to get into too deeply. There's videos out there. I think the Legal Eagle has a video about jury nullification that you should watch, I think. If not, just search jury nullification and you'll be able to see what exactly it's about. But my charge to you, my ask of you is if you end up on a jury, grand jury especially, but if you end up on a jury and something like this comes up, it's your duty, it's your right, it's your absolute obligation to do what this jury did. I believe. I'm just telling you what I'm going to do if I end up on a jury. I did have jury duty a couple weeks ago, but didn't get called to a trial. It's on all of us to protect people who are stepping up and standing out in the crowd and doing their protest, exerting and exercising their First Amendment right under the Constitution. So I want to play for you a statement that was made by Sean Dunn. And in this statement, while you're watching it, I want you to remember the White House video. Dun, dun, whoosh, all of the insane drama that they brought to bear. The guy that they arrested in that video, this is him. This is the dangerous terrorist who assaulted a federal officer who could smell the mustard and onions. This is him.
I would like to thank family and friends and strangers for all of their support, whether it was emotional or spiritual or artistic or financial. And I am so happy that justice prevails in spite of everything happening.
That seems like a gentle, decent man that the federal government he lost his federal job, by the way. He worked at the DOJ. This seems like someone who needs to be lifted up. We need more Sean Dunns in the world and far fewer Jeanine Pirros and Donald Trump. We need far fewer ICE agents. We need far fewer masked armed agents of the state who are kidnapping people off the streets of many, many cities in the United States. They are detaining, they are arresting American citizens that they don't suspect are Americans because they're not quite the same shade as I am. They don't speak English the same way that I do, with as much proficiency or with a different kind of accent. So they're not American enough in the eyes of the masked goons who are too cowardly to even show their faces while executing their duty, following the orders of the fascist racist in the White House. Good for this jury. I guess that's ultimately what we have here. I don't recommend throwing sandwiches at people. but good on the jury. Anyway, what do you think? I invite you to this conversation. Let's have it in the comments below the video, wherever you're watching it, Facebook, YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed, you're like and following wherever you are. And you can also leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. I love and appreciate you very much. I'll see you next time. Be genuine and take care of one another.